Shall we start the meeting with the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have an approval of the agenda?
So approved. Support.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Now, on the minutes. Everybody review the minutes? Any comments?
I guess I have a question. So it's not really, it's a question. So as it talked about the bylaws, it says this is the first of 3 motions to amend the bylaws. What is that referring to?
Referring, well, to our current bylaws, which we're still under, said it takes 3 votes
3
to
votes.
amend the
Okay.
bylaws,
Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah, 3 in 3 separate
Okay.
meetings,
Okay.
so, yeah.
Because then it talks about a motion where we changed our
Yeah.
proposal, so I was trying to tie those 2 together. So that's
Ah.
just referring to what we need to do to ultimately pass our bylaws. Got it. Okay.
All right,
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 23rd meeting as presented.
support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Well, there's no public comment, because we have no public, so moving right along, correspondence?
Correspondence. I have we got a lovely thank you card from one of the patrons, young patrons who received a bike here in Manistee. We gave away bikes as the grand prize at all 6 branches. Dear library staff, thank you for the new bike. I love the color. I've been riding it around town a lot and it rides really nice.
Nice.
So this family was very sweet. I was here to give the bike to her when she came and the mom was just so thrilled and, you know, and she's like, who picked this out? And I'm like, I did. I said, I have 3 daughters, so I'm pretty good at it. So they were very appreciative, so.
Can you tell me approximately how old that child is?
She is, no, I don't think I can.
What does she look like? How old is she?
She's a teenager.
Okay, thank you.
This-
Oh,
Yeah, this is actually a teenager, so, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, okay.
It's nice to
that-
hear a teenager's riding a bike, right?
And writing a thank you note too.
I hope
exactly.
that's her handwriting.
Yes, it
That is
is.
thrilling to watch somebody in cursive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
It's
Yeah.
still my heart.
Yeah, and then I have one more thank you card. We had the magazine racks that we had pulled out, and they had been sitting in the book house for months. So one of the friends had come to me and said, do you mind if I donate these to the senior center? And I said, no, go ahead, they could probably use them. So, dear Deborah, thank you for the wonderful donation of shelves for the Wagner Community Center. We are going to use these in our food pantry for storage shelves. We really appreciate this wonderful gift. Sincerely, Sarah Howard.
Nice.
Very nice. All right. Dave, moving on to financials?
Okay, you should have received the financials in your packet. If you move into the balance sheet, which is labeled page 1, you can see the checking account balances, Son & Johnson roughly 22, and then the Chemical Bank County Treasurer, which is your main account that holds the funds, is $866,000. Penal fines for July were a little bit, or quite a bit below what it's normally been running. They've been running somewhere between 8 to 10. They were only 5,000 for 5,100. Prepaid expenditure, that's from a number from the end of the fiscal year last year. Accounts payable, 26,000. That number is low. Accounts payable to Manistee County, roughly 43.5. That again is the payroll and related stuff with them processing payroll. So no big surprises on the balance sheet. If you look on the next page, page 2, statement of revenues, expenditures, previous year's comparison, you can see that again, the penal fines are down from last year. Last year was really probably on the higher side. It was 13 compared to 5. And pretty much we got delinquent property taxes in July, where the year before we got them in a different time period. So that's an anomaly from year to year. They were received just not in the same time period. The expenditures are pretty much what they were for the month. I mean, if you go and you look at on page 4, to get to the bottom line for current month compared to previous year's month, you can see that this year there's a loss of roughly $5,600. Last year there was a loss of $145,000, but that includes a $70,000 transfer to the capital improvement fund. So really it was about a $75,000, because that's not really a loss, it's just transfer of funds from one fund to the other. So. Looking and continuing on page 5, statement of revenues and expenditures, previous year comparison. For the period of October through July, you can see the penal fine revenue overall is just a little bit above that of the previous year. Extended fees and the other ones are minor in nature as far as dollar amounts. The property tax is lower overall, and that's because of the personal property tax reimbursement.
I have news.
But I was just gonna say, we have more money coming.
I have it.
You have
Got it.
Got it, okay.
$55,410.81.
Okay. So that will be reflected in next month's financial statements. So that 55 takes it to 94, which is what it was last year. So we'll be right in line with that from the previous year. Property tax revenue was up. There was an increase in the overall value of the county from one year to the next, so we see the increase in the revenue. On the expenditure side, if you go through, starting with page 6 and just look at the subtotals, personnel costs this year, 605 compared to 613, so that is down. Subscriptions are pretty much the same. Programming is pretty much the same. Books is up a little bit. There again, that can be just timing of when the books are ordered. AV material, which continues on the next page, 35 this year, 37 last year. So total collection expense this year, 115 compared to basically 113, pretty much in line. The capital outlay, as was explained in the one handout, for some odd reason, we actually had 2 years of ILS support in the same year, and that's why there was none last year. So that's just an anomaly. Capital outlay, of course, is going to change from year to year. Fees and services are actually down compared to the prior year. Buildings and grounds are down a little bit, nothing major. Branch expenditures, which is on page 8 at the top, total branch expenditures, roughly 33 compared to roughly 30, not a major change there. Advertising, not a major change. Miscellaneous, down roughly $30,000, which was the debt repayment, which the note was paid off last year. So that's no longer going to be an expenditure line item. Furniture equipment basically the same. Utilities basically the same. Transfers out different from that of the prior year. Moving on to page 9, statement of revenues and expenditures budget versus actual. And you can go down and see the various difference. Of course, the budget is the full year budget. So basically for August and September, yeah. So 2 months basically left in it. So 10/12 of the budget coming in. So down, the biggest one, of course, is down at tax income. Right now, we're at 99.3, but then again, you have the additional 55,000 coming in there. So that revenue will be substantially higher than that of the previous year. On the expenditure side, if you turn to page 10, you can see the total tax expenditures, 605, budget's 829. Subscriptions, you can see there's still $10,000 left in subscription budget. Programs, still about 11,000 remaining. Books, still 17. AV materials, still another roughly 13. With about approximately 53,000 in collection expenses to spend if you spent to budget. And what's the chances of us doing that? Not. Okay, I knew the answer, but I thought. So capital outlay, there's just a little bit of money left to spend in that area. Capital outlay, there's still another $35,000 left there to spend compared to the budget. Parking lot, we've had nothing done there this year. So that may be something that will be changed in September if nothing's going to be done in the budget adjustments. Fees and services are roughly 44,000 less than last year. Buildings and grounds, you roughly got about $9,000 left in that budget category. Branches, you got roughly $11,000 left. Advertising, PR, you got roughly $5,500 left. Miscellaneous, about $3,000. Supplies, roughly $5,600. Utilities, which goes to page 12. Compared to budget, you got about $11,000 left in the budget. Vehicle, just a little bit. And then capital improvements vary from year to year. So I mean, as far as being in line with budget and the amount of what you had budgeted and what you spent, you've got quite a bit of excess there left. So you're probably not going to have an over budget area on any expenditure category. I mean, there may have to be adjustments within categories on different line items because they switch around a little bit, but nothing, I don't see the budget having to be increased to cover any, overall to cover any expenditures.
I have a question about a line item on page 11 under fees and services. The administrative fee for the county is a lot less. Is that, I would have thought that would be sort of a fixed cost. Is that-
She's always behind, like we just got the one for July.
Okay.
So I don't know if that, and then we also have to remember that they owed us some money this year,
Okay.
remember, from the MERS overbilling. So that's gonna
Okay.
make a difference somewhere,
Okay.
so.
What page are you on?
Page
11.
11, under fees and services, near the bottom of that category.
Because they, whatever the amount is, it's always, what is it, 3 point something that they charge us, so it's always different.
Okay.
So it's not consistent.
Okay,
It's a percentage of our payroll.
Right.
right, that's why I was just surprised to say, boy, you'd think we'd be pretty close to it, so, but it sounds like
Yep.
that's a good explanation.
Right, they owed money, and also it will get caught up at year end. We make sure that all of them are booked, but as Deborah was saying, she doesn't always get the bills out timely enough for ours to record them in the proper month. Because otherwise we'd have to hold up the preparation of the financial statements in order to get it in there.
Yeah.
So, but we do get it caught up at the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, like I said, I just got July on Friday, so.
And the stuff went in the mail Thursday. And then the the capital improvement fund, you can see has 328,000. Any questions for me?
good shape.
Okay. Do we want to wait?
I'll make a motion that we approve the financial statements as submitted.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Administrative report.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I should touch on the technology where we received the refund of $5,995. If everyone recalls from last year, that donation that took place prior to my arrival, and that they were supposed to get this payment system, was part of the self-checkout and all of that. And then they had gotten that because they had already paid half of it prior to my arrival. So we had to follow through with it, but then once we got it, we realized there's no way we could use it. It was this big thing that there was nowhere, we couldn't install it. So they let us return it, so we received that refund. So we've been looking at other payment systems that will work for us in our library. So, our tech furniture has arrived a lot sooner than what we expected. We're like, we need to order this. It's gonna take about 6 weeks. It took like 2. So we have it. We're currently working on getting paint quotes, which again is a struggle. We received one, but because my husband is a drywaller, I thought this is too high. So we've been doing some asking around, and we're hopefully gonna get a couple more painters in here to give us some additional quotes. So we are working on that, hopefully get it, in the next couple of weeks, we can get it painted, get the new carpet in, get the new furniture in, and we'll be done with the tech room. And then we can move on from there. Anyone have any questions about anything? All the fire extinguishers in all of our branches were way overdue for inspection. One of my branches, I was surprised by the date. So those have all been checked, and we're all current and up to date. I think one of the things I
Can I
said,
ask who does that inspection?
there's a company out of Traverse City.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually, like, my experience has been that they automatically come.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
gonna say,
that-
you
yeah,
should get on
right.
you should get on the automatic
And I'm
list
like, so I'm
because
like,
that's what
when
I
I'm
was
looking
asking
in
you.
the one of my branch managers had emailed me and said, hey, the fire extinguisher out here, and I'm like, so this has been, my experience, they
Yes.
automatically
Yes.
come.
Right.
But that hasn't been the case, so hopefully we've got it moving.
Is
Oh,
that
what I thought.
put on Tim's log now to check when the inspections are done annually?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay.
But what I would like to do, and I will call the company myself, is make sure that we just get on their schedule.
Right.
It just makes it
Yeah, you
easier.
usually don't have
So you
to
don't have to
call and
think
they
about it.
surprise you when they show up.
Although this year I had an experience where the company, for whatever reason, their records got mixed up and
Oh, wow.
until 3 months later I realized it. It's like, why weren't you there?
Yep.
I was supposed to come.
Right, and then the other thing, I had Pam do up a little summary of, did I put it on here? Yes, HVAC went down. I will provide a summary from Pam. So we don't really know what happened, if it was the HVAC that caused the power outage, or a power outage that caused the HVAC to go down. So what we had put in was, we had to get, it knocked out the server power UPS, so we had to get a new one that attaches to the server. We also had the electric come in and take a look, and they put in 2 surge protectors. One is back in where the HVAC is, one is connecting to the HVAC, and the other one's over here. So we have surge protectors, should something go down, hopefully it won't knock out the HVAC again. So I'll read what Pam wrote. Mid-July, we experienced a power surge that destroyed the UPS on the library main server and the UPS on the tech room servers located in Nick's office, and brought the HVAC system down. We called in a technician for the HVAC, and after discussing the issue, he was unable to tell us if this would continue to be a problem. We then contacted Mark Krolchek, is that how you pronounce it? Krolchek Electric, and met with him and his technicians, who recommended the installation of surge protectors on the power supply panels to the HVAC in the main service. These protectors are basically a one-shot piece of equipment that will take the surge and disrupt the power to these main panels, preventing the destruction of the equipment and protecting our services. So that's all been taken care of, so.
Then we still don't have an answer on those two calls.
No, because we don't know what caused what, so this will hopefully prevent whatever caused what. Any questions?
Is the cost for these one-time surge protectors excessive, or is it?
I don't think it's too bad. I know the one for the server was 300 and some. We haven't received the, I can't remember what they told me, but I don't think it was that high.
I just have one question of you.
Mhm.
On your, I realize it's early, but how, on your customer service workshop, how are you seeing it applied?
Hopefully they apply it. I thought it was a good workshop. How about we have Helen talk about the workshop? What did you take away from it, Helen?
It was good, it was very good, it was a little bit different than what I thought it was gonna be. There was more hands-on with staff.
Yeah, I think the staff is used to more like lecture type stuff,
Yeah.
presentation. But this was all hands-on, which made the staff work together, I think, which was very beneficial. And, talked about customer service. We all have customer service experiences, good and bad. So those were discussed, and, I'm hoping that the staff took away, like, I don't want to be treated like that, so I'm not going to treat people like that. And I'm hoping that they carry it with them, because I think it's really important in what we do, because we're all about, our patrons and the service to them. So that was half the day, and then the other half, we went through some things, and then got some, like we had rearranged the children's room a little bit to fit in our makerspace table. Some of the staff did some cleaning downstairs, so I think it was a very nice day overall.
I have a question. Did they touch on anything on mental health issues? Because I've been reading in other newspapers about libraries, especially in large cities, are having lots of trouble with mental health.
I think that would be a
Issues
whole
coming in.
nother workshop. Yeah,
I'm
this,
kidding.
this was just a customer service workshop
Okay.
that we had come in.
Okay,
Yeah,
because we do have colorful people showing up here.
we do.
I think the whole intention of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, was to just bring in the staff
Right.
and update them.
Right.
And give them an inkling of what's needed to come. We went through this with the customer service policy, and there was a lot of research done nationally
Right.
as far as what is the issues and the incredible increase in mental health. So,
Yeah, I think that's a whole nother workshop. A lot of libraries are hiring social workers.
Yeah, I read that too, yeah.
Yeah, there's actually, I know of a library downstate, a rural part of the state, they actually received a grant to bring someone in on staff. So, something to think about.
And if you get your master's in some programs nowadays in library science, they have a whole class on mental health issues. Which I was really, kind of like, this is a major, almost public health issue among the other multiple ones that are out there.
Where else can people go to spend time if you're homeless or,
Right.
so it is, but, we would
Oh,
address
There's
with
always
our
an uptick in the
partners.
winter with bad weather.
Yeah.
To bounce off of this, last week we encountered, since I've been here, my first experience was someone stealing something from someone. We had a patron come in, ruffle through somebody's grocery bags that they had left unattended, stole something, and then also stole someone's backpack that they left outside the restaurant. So, yeah, so stuff happens here.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay. Any more questions for Deborah? Moving on to committee reports.
Well, there was only one committee that met, and that was the personnel in regard to the director's evaluation. And it was decided that since we're working under the current strategic plan, the evaluation of last year will be tweaked and will be presented at the next library board meeting. In regard to Deborah's top 5 goals, which are listed on that sheet of paper, on the minutes. Also, the branch manager position in Oyakama is open. Larry is moving to Battle Creek because his wife accepted a teaching position there. He's not happy, by the way. But, you know, he's really going to be missed, and,
Today's his last day, so
Oh, yeah.
he is here this morning, so
is he here this morning?
please,
Oh, good.
before you leave,
Okay.
stop by and,
Thank you. Okay.
Yes, so anyway, I just, so I think we're back to square one.
Has the position, will it be posted?
it's been posted
outside the-
internally, now we have to go through that.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you go through, just so I understand, so you go through the internal process, if a candidate doesn't present itself, then you post
Then we-
outside?
Yep, yeah.
But usually what happens is you end up with a chain reaction.
That's what happened last time, so it was chaos for months. Because if you have someone from another, within the library,
Or with the courthouse.
when they make a move, you have to hold their position for 4 weeks. Then you have to also fill that position for 4 weeks. And then, if that person makes it in 4 weeks, then you gotta post the next position that opened up internally. And then if someone signs it internally, this is what happened last time, I think there was 3 moves. And so each move is 4 weeks. And then by the time you get the last one posted, it has to be 7 business days internally. And then you post it external, because finally, by the time you get to the last one, there's nobody left to fill it. Then it goes, so, I mean, it's a 3-4
Month
months.
process.
Yeah, so, I do have, 2 interviews scheduled today for that new part-time search clerk that you guys approved. So I'm confident that one of those will work out for us. So that will really help us get through this.
And considering, you know, for the county departments and entities, you know, we have more staff than a lot of the small departments where it's not as big, you know, you don't get as many people moving within a department, or, you know, we have more openings. Is there anything that could be done in the future to tweak that process in a union contract? I mean, because that's really, you know,
I've been thinking about that because it really, you know, in my almost 2 years here, you know, every move is like, it's so challenging.
and you want people to move, I mean, you want to make it easy for them, but you also want to be like, okay, great, you like this position, you're in it, and
Right,
let's
right,
fill
yeah.
your position, you
Yeah,
know.
it's definitely a conversation that needs to take place
Okay.
because it's tough.
Yeah.
It really makes it
Yeah.
tough for us, you know, as the employer, so. mhm.
Okay, and there was no other, okay. on to old business on the agenda.
So I touched on the tech room, hopefully the next couple of weeks we'll get that all worked out, get it finished. Next on my list, Tim and I are going to start on the tile asbestos project and hopefully get that lined up. And then after we get that one done, then we'll move on to our main floor, hopefully late winter. So move it along if we can just get people to work with us.
I've got a question, and I don't know where I read it,
Okay.
but there was a comment somewhere about a discussion of potentially moving your office.
Yes,
Oh,
I had in my facilities, yes, we had a conversation. And I think this conversation took place last year too, about the location of my office. And I really struggle with the location of that office because I'm in the middle of the entire staff. And so there has been discussion, and the only thing that I can, and I think Tamara was on the facilities at one point, and the only thing I can figure out is to, that far end of the workspace in the basement is to create an office down there. And then outside of my office would be Julie's office. That way, we could get the other staff's workspace on this end so that they're all together, and then I've got some sort of privacy, and I don't have to listen to everything. Because right now, there is no privacy, there is, I'm in the middle of all of this chaos. And for me, it's just, I mean, I've never experienced this before. So those are the thoughts that I have that would solve that, because there's no other place to go. Ideally, I would like to have my office on the main floor, but I don't think that's doable here. So that's the only solution that I've come up with,
Okay.
so.
I recall that we had talked about a short-term solution, which was to be over in the
Yeah, we had talked about the bookhouse, but that, I mean, that
That's-
itself is.
I don't really like the idea.
Yeah, no. When I've been over there, you can barely walk through there. And
Right.
if they're working, it's,
Yeah,
So I guess
Next
there
to
isn't a
impossible.
short-term
so.
solution.
So I'm thinking, to put a couple walls up and,
Okay.
with some windows and a door. Shouldn't take too much. I don't know, I'm not a builder.
So that's something you're gonna start, I'm sorry, something you're gonna think about soon then for
Yeah,
yourself,
I think so,
or-
I think so,
oh.
because the longer it goes on, it's just,
That makes it hard for
it's very
for
hard.
you and maybe for staff too, if you were to ask them how they feel, maybe they feel the same way. It's
Right.
like it's not good.
Okay, will we hear something, hopefully, you'll have been able to make some progress?
Yeah, we'll
Next
have a
month.
facilities meeting.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I think we discussed that about, there are companies that come in and actually do that.
They look
They,
at the
they
workspace.
come in and they
Actually,
look at
they'll-
your workspace
Well, you
and
just need
then
one,
they set it
you
up.
just need a partition to separate, that, as you said, a door and a window. It's not, we're not going into the walls.
No, I mean, we're
Unless you do
basically,
Because it's all open space.
what I thought was just basically building a wall, putting like a window in it and then a door. And
Yeah.
then the next one, Julie would have, the same thing, a window and a door, so it's basically,
But,
Yeah.
Okay, well, you'll work on it today.
Right, I was gonna say, I think that comes out of facilities.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, under new business, we have the final draft of the bylaws.
I didn't know how to word that, so, does that make sense?
This is the second motion, yes, no,
Yeah,
this is what
so-
we agreed to last month. That
So
we'll
we
go
need
through
to-
the motions. And,
So I just had made those minor changes that we had discussed.
yes,
Well, so I wasn't here last month when you probably made the first motion and the first
Right.
review, but when I read through it, I just thought there was such a vast improvement.
Yeah.
So.
so we're
it's
ready
really
to,
great. So I make a motion to approve the, I said that too fast before I thought.
Second motion.
Second,
We did
Oh, I
the
will
first one.
make the second motion
Mhm.
that is necessary according to our bylaws to approve the amendment to our Manistee County Library Board bylaws.
I support.
those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Now, motion to set public hearing on fiscal year 2019, 2020 budget.
I would make the motion that we set.
First of
public-
Oh, go ahead and make the
That we,
motion.
that we set the public hearing at the date of our next board meeting, September 24th, at 10 a.m.
And I'll second that.
All those
So
in favor?
discussion,
No, discussion.
discussion, ideally you do motion first and then discussions anyway,
It is
but, yeah, but did you?
My comment is that I will be in Norway on September 24th.
And I wasn't planning to attend that meeting, so, because of a local conflict, so. But besides that, we haven't had to meet on this for a while. Do you have any changes since we met back in, I think it was June was the last time we discussed?
I don't have any changes currently. I did email Lisa yesterday to see if there was any changes to the personnel costs. That's usually where the changes happen. I have not heard back from her yet.
And there's no other projects that were, that were moved that we thought would be this fiscal year or will be next, or vice versa. Otherwise, everything else looks good. Okay, okay.
So,
Okay, that being said, now.
we have a
what do
quorum?
You have three.
We have
We
three.
have three.
Yeah. I can commit to being there.
I will drag my body in here regardless.
Let's make sure.
So if there are
I
no
mean,
other real issues, then the
No.
public
Yeah,
hearing
if
is
you're
really.
okay, yeah, but
Yeah.
just if one of you gets sick and can't come in,
Yeah.
then, I mean, I do have, it's another meeting that I really hate to, I really wouldn't skip this for many other things, but it's
No,
a
you go
meeting I
to it.
really need to be at, and.
I'm not
You
flying
can't go-
back.
you're not flying back?
We're not even asking Barb to
Oh,
come
you
back.
can't go to Norway, we have a budget.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, she didn't invite us with, so
No, she
that's why she
didn't.
gave
So
her.
rude.
It's rude.
You shouldn't have said
Okay,
what
so-
Joyce did to me.
We will proceed then.
Sounds good.
We should vote on, now we should vote.
So now we can vote.
Okay,
Do we
Oh.
vote?
We have to vote. Yeah, you vote.
we vote.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, then we have, next item is motion to amend the Selma Johnson Fund.
I emailed you guys yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't even,
But it's.
I'm sorry, I didn't even think to make copies.
And.
Did everybody get a chance to look at it?
No.
Yeah.
No, so basically, I listed everything that we had, and then in the email.
Do you wanna,
I didn't print, did you print the email off?
Yes, I did.
Oh, look it. Okay, so I explained the differences. We only purchased one
Oh
makerspace
my
table
God.
for the children's room due to space constraints. Most of the staff didn't want new desks and chairs at this time. We also didn't purchase the partitions, as discussion has taken place with the facilities committee to possibly redo the workspace in the basement. For example, moving my office and creating an office for the assistant director. Further discussion will take place in the coming months. So those are the only changes, or what didn't happen. So with what we had left over, I'm proposing 10 new computer monitors that will go in our freshly updated tech room. A drinking fountain, one of those modernized
Yes.
drinking fountain, because ours has been out
Yes.
for a while. And we have talked about charging stations in our tech committee for quite a while. So we would like to add those 3 charging stations to complement our tech room. Those would be placed in, we've found some smaller ones, like one for the children's room, one downstairs, I think in the reading room, And then one, potentially, I'm trying to think of where, up in the tech room. So those are what we would like to purchase with the remaining,
Say again, it'd be the children's room, the tech room, and.
don't quote me.
All right. I'll put a question mark down.
A drinking fountain, I didn't realize they were so expensive.
Well, that's those,
That's
you know,
fancy.
those-
This is
Is
a
it for
kind
Oh, but
of-
there's a
Yeah,
small
yeah,
one.
yeah.
You can fill
Ah.
bottles.
Yes,
Love it, that's
Yes.
great.
And these funds have to be spent by the end of the calendar year, am I correct?
we're trying to
Yes.
spend it by the end of our fiscal year, because as you look at the financials, it complicates things.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
David and I had this conversation, if we could try to do it within the fiscal year, it makes it easier.
Okay.
Did you get 10 monitors for $1,500 and some odd dollars?
What's that?
The, in the chart, unless I.
Yeah, yeah,
Really,
I've
you
got
got
the quote.
10?
I
For
got it.
$1,500, basically $1,500.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's nice.
Very
That's Right,
nice.
yeah.
I have a question now, is your drinking fountain out because of the drinking fountain itself or because of the water system? Because there are other businesses in the area that have no water.
It's the drinking fountain itself,
Seriously,
and it's the lack of being able to get a plumber to fix it.
I hear you.
There's an age factor, okay? Okay. we'll leave that
Got
alone.
it, Joyce.
And then, on the bottom, if everything comes in at what I have it quoted, there would be a remaining balance of $3,356.97 that we would apply towards the tech room furniture that we purchased.
Good.
And that would take care of the summer.
And that's what I was reading on my phone, by the way.
So I'll make a motion to amend the 2019 Selma Johnson Fund expenditures as described in your report.
I will second.
Oh,
Can I just ask a
Discussion?
question? And it's really more the charging stations and treating me.
Mhm.
Will we kind of probably roll those out to the branches at some point too, so?
We actually purchased some smaller tabletop ones at this point. They're all out in the branches right now.
Okay.
They're just a small, cheap something.
Yep.
But because of the limited space in the, but if we have one, we have like a stand-up one that we are going to roll out here that we'll try, and I told the branch managers, let us know if the smaller ones are being utilized, and then we could always upgrade out there at some point.
Okay.
But they did all get one last week.
Oh, good.
And I
good.
just wanted to add that I really like the things that you've switched it to. You know, I think because of where this money comes from, it's, you know, was a gift from someone. The fact that as much as possible, it goes to things that are actively used by the public. So I really like this listing better than staff chairs. I mean, I just think if at all possible, this should really be going to capital improvements that the public, you know, gets the immediate effect of, even though keeping staff seated safely and comfortably is important too. So I'm glad, I really think it's a great list of things you're using these funds for.
I agree.
Yeah, just the way you shifted the funding and well, what I think Roz is saying is the application of the funding. The focus is totally,
Yeah, since
Patron.
it's a patron gift, basically,
Yes.
is what started this, I think
Yeah.
it should go to the patron.
really good.
So we have a motion on it as well.
Yes, now we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Okay. The DDA capture discussion.
I had an email, I believe I had emailed everyone what I had received from Claire at the Library of Michigan.
So this means, the fact that it's saying we are automatically exempt means that we have been getting that millage?
It doesn't mean that.
Okay, yeah.
It does not imply that.
Okay.
But in reading this, because our millage approval was after that date.
Mhm.
Therefore, the language is such that any millage approved after that date should be automatically
Yep.
exempt from capture. Whether or not the jurisdictions actually follow through on that is why I think the recommendation of the letter follow up to. And I know here it says the county treasurer, but since, I don't know what role the city has versus the county for the city DDA, so you might want also a letter to the city treasurer as well.
Well, and then also the filer, the township treasurer,
Right.
they're two the same kind of thing, no?
County prepares the bills for the,
The townships, whereas the city, I think, does its own.
I didn't know that, okay.
filer should be notified though too.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
So does this letter come from me, or does this letter come from the board?
I don't think it matters. We're just
Well,
Okay.
informing them of what the law says, so I
Okay.
don't think
Okay,
it matters. But
Well-
however if you would prefer one way or the other.
I can do it.
So I guess, so have we decided what the letter is saying? Are we, I guess, decided to do, well, we automatically, but we can
You can opt in.
We can opt in, or, which would then say we are allowing the DDA to.
Which I think is why we created a committee, because two of us represent to different degrees the two DDAs in the county, so I think whatever the committee would recommend would make sense for us to follow through on.
Did they meet?
We met before we had this,
Oh.
we met in July, I guess it was,
So
so.
you just have some discussions and still.
So maybe it would make sense for the committee to meet before our next meeting and have a recommendation for this. Because again, I'm uncomfortable having a
Right.
discussion.
Yeah, uh-huh.
You mean
Yeah.
you want the letter sent first with?
No.
No, no, no.
No,
You
you
want
have
the
to meet
DDA
first.
talk to me
Because
first.
now we know what our options are and what our,
And then come back with
This
a
was very helpful.
recommendation
yeah.
to the board.
Might be helpful, David, do we know how much we contribute to both DDAs?
One of them was 17,000.
Yeah,
2018 was 18,000 something, 2019 is around 20,000.
That's to the city DDA?
No, this
Or
is.
that just goes out to?
This
all
goes
DDAs.
out to the DDAs, this was
Okay.
what was on the,
For both.
from the
both.
county.
Okay, 17, so around 17,000.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so we'll schedule a meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, and the last item under new business is a motion to approve strategic plan contract, and it is enclosed in your packet. Okay, everybody has read it, memorized it?
It's the same one that you were given in July. The only thing is attached is the last part that needs to be signed.
So I just want to say again that was my greatest hope that we would all want to be on the strategic planning committee, even though it really only talks about just a few of us. But I think in previous discussions, we as a board have talked about all of us being on that committee and then having to deal with the Open Meetings Act and the posting, and that, you know, we all just accepted that there's gonna be a little bit more that we're gonna have to do to make sure that that happens. But I just wanna say that out loud because it's not reflected in the proposal. It really just, again, talks about a couple of us. And, so yeah, I just wanna say that out loud again.
Thank you.
And I think David understands that,
Does he?
and, you know, because I think I had received an email.
And I had as well, he sounded a little concerned and wanted to make sure we were aware that we have to abide by the Open
You have
Meetings
that,
Act.
yep. So,
Yeah, I don't see
Oh.
that being, I don't see that being a real problem if, you know, it doesn't mean that person would have input at the meeting, but they could attend, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That explanation, is everybody satisfied?
I was gonna make a motion that we approve, the proposal for services, for the new strategic plan as stated in the handout.
Do I hear a second?
Yeah, I would request that that motion also indicate who's authorized to sign. It's just, the language here is just
Yeah.
says signature of authorized representative, so
Right, so, well, I sort of figured the president,
it could be either the director or the board chair. It doesn't
Or
really
both.
matter.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one signature line, it's,
Okay.
keep it to one. But I think the motion should include that.
I would, yeah, if you want to authorize the president to sign that, I think it's,
I think since the board is approving it, the president should, I recommend that the president sign.
Yep, right now.
Sounds good.
I will,
Okay.
okay, so
Okay,
Barry
I got it.
seconded, we have,
Don't
let's
sign it
vote
yet.
first.
Don't sign.
Have us vote first.
All right, voting. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Yes.
Good.
Okay,
Thank you, Barry.
that's the, what line is this? This is my signature line.
That's signature, printed name, title, date.
Okay. You're all witnessing this, I hope.
And we think this will all start happening, I'm trying to remember what you said for the timeline.
Look, when David came up to do the customer service workshop, I had actually met with him. So we will, once I get this to him, we will begin to have, we were thinking, January is probably not a good time to start having community conversations, as we get a lot of, we have a lot of people that go away for the winter and stuff like that,
We
so,
also have inclement weather.
possibly.
Oh, we do?
March, April, but we can begin other things before then, gathering information, doing surveys, that sort of thing. So as soon as I get to this to him, I'll get a timeline and present that maybe next month if I have it.
Okay. That concludes the new business. Now we're down to board trustee comments.
I don't have any.
I don't have any.
I've already made my comment.
Okay, I want to thank you all for reading your emails and your previous notes from the meeting and the minutes. It works. Yeah, thank you very much. That's my only.
And also having the committee meetings meet, doing the work and then just
Yes, we are
bringing
you're right.
in recommendations.
Continue to beef up the
and-
recommendations.
And keeping the board members informed of what's happening.
More importantly, get the decisions made, get it all hashed out in the committees. And then, like we've been doing the last couple of meetings, is we're bringing the results.
Right.
We're not asking the board to noodle through and have a big, hairy discussion about it. So this is working and this is the way we should be doing it.
I appreciate the participation of
Yeah.
the board members.
Yes, the grunt work is working. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And can we move to adjourn?
All right.
May I move to
We
adjourn?
might have a
Okay.
problem next month
I will second.
with the 10 o'clock
All those in favor?
meeting.
We're gonna be sitting here, make sure we have coffee and donuts.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, those
That's right,
opposed.
remember